Hi there. So I'm in between sessions and I'm like, hey, I have some things that I sort of like either learn or like share with other people. And hey, I might as well share with others. So maybe it'll be helpful. Anyway, it's kind of like a weird introduction, but I'm looking at the thing for those that have an overactive mind that's like constantly just can't quiet it down. Like it's just filled with conversations, like nonstop thinking. Either you're talking to yourself or you hear things in your head, you constantly have visuals, you just think of a funny thing and you can't stop laughing, or sometimes you're like thinking about the worst case scenarios. But the idea is thinking, 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 and just can't quiet it down no matter what. Like you just can't even remember stuff because it's so overloaded. And I'm looking at, okay, what are some of the things that's causing this? And one of the things out of probably many, many, many is in our past lives, because of the roles we have had. We've been healers, we've been warriors, we've been protectors. But the idea is you have been helping people. And sometimes planets are being attacked. Sometimes, they're being infested and there's a lot of things going on out there. And you come in, hey, I can help. You create a portal, you save people, you're a planet and like you're a being, and you basically suck up all the pain of others and they can't feel any more pain and you don't feel it too because you're a godlike being, so you're just sort of like fixing everything. And it's really good and fun out there because as godlike beings, we don't really have issues. We don't feel pain. We're limitless. We're like, yeah, I'm having all free time in the world. I can do absolutely anything I want anytime. And you're basically like a police officer or like a doctor or a dispatcher, constantly listening in. Who needs help? Who can I help to? Because in nature, we're good, and some of us like to help and like, hey, I'm free, freelancer. Who wants to hire me? Who needs help? I'm here for anyone that needs me. And with this kind of idea, we're like, okay, there are beings who are getting attacked, who have issues, and you're there ready to jump in and help. And it's really good. You're helping out others. You're sort of like gaining your points of being a good being, and you're rating yourself, or maybe you're enjoying this thing. You're doing quests or whatever. But there comes a time when a lot of beings, it's kind of like they lose a sense of responsibility. They have this protector that's going to come in at any point in time and be there for them, whether they're getting attacked, where they need their car fixed, where they need a cup of tea. The godlike being can come in at any time and help them out. And the thing is, I'm talking about us being gods. But over there, a lot of beings, we create a realm, a planet, a game to play. Each place will have its own rules. Like right here on Earth, because it's created by a lot of beings, it has a lot of limitations. Like people can't fly, people can't do this and that. Like we can't teleport now, right? So like we have some of the limitations. Over there, people might fly, they might be able to do things, but they don't have like maybe the strength to lift up things, like really heavy things, or they will have their own limitations because in this specific realm we have only puppies and they're so freaking cute, and that's all fun. But like different realms will have different issues, or let's say like, hey, they created the way, like they created the place the way they want to play it. That is their game, that is the thing they're going to enjoy for a while. But then there are some third parties who are like, hey, this place has a lot of great minerals, well, let's just go take over, it's going to be our place now, or it's going to be our resources. And like they try, and like let's say just the same way we have issues here on Earth, they're out there as well. Because you're in the picture, you can always help. And so a lot of times when you're helping, you're doing it because it's something you like. But people lose a sense of responsibility, and now every time something bad happens, they reach out to you. They have a communication with you and they're like, hey, I need help. And you're out there in the picture. And that's really good, right? But here comes the thing. You are like, okay, I'm done with this game. I'm going to move on. I'm going to do something else. And whatever you do from this period of time to this period of time, something happened. But now you ended up on Earth. Completely different thing. And you forgot absolutely everything that happened. You have amnesia. You don't remember your past lives. At the same time, you don't remember the decisions you have made in the past that are still valid today. The agreements that you made with certain groups, like, hey, specifically this group, I feel like you're my family. I'll be there to protect you. And just like, you make a vow or something, you're like, hey, these guys, these beings are like kids to me. I feel like, they're my family, and I'm gonna be here for you. Anytime you need me, you just let me know. Right? So millions, billions, thousands of years go, and all of a sudden you're here on Earth. And you're doing your stuff. But now you constantly have this mind that's worrying about, like, oh my God, the car's not going to start. I'm going to forget things. Like, what if this? What if that? What if? And it's constantly nonstop, just, can't shut up. At the same time, okay, there's the worrying part. There's the part that's like constantly thinking about the worst case scenario. The part that like constantly laughing or trying to get help, or like, like just like nonstop chatter in your head. It starts with a few billion years ago, or however long or however relative things happened. You made a decision or an agreement to allow the communication from any being to come in because you are there to help. Because they see you as someone who can help and fix their issues, they will feel like, hey, I can call this person at any time, contact them, and ask for help. And now you have this open channel. But when you're here on Earth, you don't remember agreeing to it, making any decisions, but your head is filled with words and conversations and thoughts, and you're like, where's it coming from? And I can't shut it off. Now what? So it starts with sort of realizing that there is a problem, or more like, hey, it's not normal. Like, it's way more than usual. It's overfilled. And if you can label, like, I don't like labeling things, but to label, to make it more simpler to understand. Like, okay, different times of the day, certain clusters will pop in. And let's say clusters, there can be entities, of course, but there can be people that you have been helping out. And they feel like you are still their savior. You're still someone who's going to pop in and help. And because this channel is constantly open and you might not know about it, you will have this chatter coming in at any point in time. In order to shut it off, it's more like, hey, anyone who I have helped before, if you're coming here without sense of responsibility that like you can just come in and ask for help, I ended up in a really bad place and I don't have the availability to help you out right now. Maybe it's like depends on how you put it. But it's like, hey, right now I no longer offer these services while I'm here. I need to take care of myself first and just shut off the channel. Whether you imagine it, whether you have a conversation, but what you need to do is break the agreements you have had with them before. Whether it was a vow, where you have decided like I'm gonna help them out. It's like you no longer have to do it. Right now you are in a different position. You need to help yourself, take care of yourself first. And once you reach that place where you feel like, hey, I can do that again. I can come back and help them out. Sure. So that's one way, like stopping the communication, maybe sort of like, hey, I no longer agree to that stuff. It's no longer the decision I made. I've changed my mind. Because you have a free will, you can always change it. It's not like it's karma. It's not like it's like karmic debt or something. You don't have to do it. You can at any point in time change the decisions, change any agreements. It is all up to you because you're in control. You have free will and all that stuff. So there's that. But at the same time, you can look at, hey, I am that massive godlike being. I have been doing it for years. And it's like, if you can still label who you're talking to for yourself so that you would know the difference between one group and the other. Sometimes it might be entities, sometimes it might be people from your past, sometimes it might be your soul family, like your relatives from one of your many lifetimes. And you can sort of like, okay, so specifically there is this, let's say, cluster of beings, a group that is constantly worrying, thinking about the worst case scenario. So, okay, like I look at myself and how do I know I have it? Well, I'm driving the car and like, will I have the red light or the green light? And you're constantly worrying about what if this happens? What if that happens? What if you're driving and a little deer or a boy pops up on the road and you have to stop really fast? And what if the guy behind you doesn't stop and like they crack at you and sort of like the mind can go off in different directions. But you're like, okay, hey, I'm worrying too much. You find that you're worrying. So now like, okay, There is a part of me that is constantly worrying. We label it all as ourselves because usually we don't really know that we have entities in our space, or we're being contacted by some other groups out there from different lifetimes. We don't know this. So we're thinking like, it's all me. I'm worrying. I'm this, I'm that, I'm that. We're identifying it as all us. Well, once you're like, okay, so this group of beings or just this part of me is constantly worrying, thinking of the worst case scenario. From your perspective, what seems to be the problem? And you ask them the question so that they could talk it out. They would let you know what's going on. And literally, it might feel like you're talking to yourself because these beings are now connected to you. They will sound like your own thoughts, like your own voice. Or maybe if you are clairvoyant and you have like clear audience and all this stuff, you will actually hear them. That would be great. So whichever way it comes, you ask the question from your perspective, what seems to be the problem? What seems to be is to allow them to look at things from their perspective and share how they see things. Because if you ask, what's the problem? They might not really identify it. Like they might not really know how is it for real. But from their perspective, they know a lot. And so if you ask like from their perspective, what seems to be the problem? I'm repeating myself, but they will share like, hey, like we've constantly been attacked ever since you've been gone. For billions of years we've been robbed and attacked, and every day is a torture. We're constantly worrying about our survival. We're worried. We just, I don't know when my family's gonna die. And you have like the weirdest thoughts. You're like, okay, all right, thank you. So you might get a conversation back and forth. You might get this one monologue about how bad the life is or was, and how really they need help. And what you can do is like, okay, so there's beings that have been suffering for a long time. What you can do is imagine a place. You are a dreamer. You can anytime create a new world, a new realm, a new planet. And all you have to do is like think of it. How would you put the world that you would like to live in? Maybe it has a nice ranch and a bunch of chickens and forest and like grass and everything else. You create the scenery that you like. It doesn't have to be like super massive, but the little world where you think these beings would feel good, you create a safe place for them where they can live. And what you do is like, let's say you create it between space and time. You create it invisible for anyone else. So these beings have their own home world, but no one else can find it. And you offer like, hey, anyone who wants to have a new home, you can go to this place. And literally, because you're a godlike being, one thought can teleport all of them. They have technologies. There are other groups that will help them to move, but you create a place where they will be safe. And what happens? This chatter with constantly worrying leaves. It's no longer in your space. You're no longer thinking about the worst case scenarios because there has been a group from your past that you have been helping out a lot, but ever since you've been gone, they've been abused and they've been tortured and they've been living in suffering. So all they know is like the same way, let's say a child would have a parent that's constantly drinking and they come back at 7 p.m. and the daddy who's drinking is abusive and the child knows like, okay, 7 p.m. daddy comes back, he's gonna hit me. But 20 years later you move out and you have a, let's say, a spouse, and you're like drinking tea and having fun and 7 p.m. and you feel kind of weird. It's like a little anxious and comfortable. You're like, I don't know, the day was going great, but I don't feel so good. It's because your body remembers that at 7 p.m. it's like a habit, daddy comes back and you get abused. So knowing this, these beings have same issues, just from different angles. And what you can do is like you create a place for them, they can move there, and you can like create a rehab. Every person that goes into this place that has like this issue is taken care of by this place, and you have free will. So you get your like sense of responsibility, you get your godlike powers, and you yourself can fix the life you want. So they, when they move to that space you create, can literally become like you. They can become creators, they can have free will, and if they want to get better, they can expand the world the way they want to. They can build up things, they can start changing out their gameplay or life the way they want. But you fix this problem for yourself. And okay, that's one group of beings that worry. But what you do is like you remove the roots of all the problems and no longer have this, oh my God, worrying about every little thing. And that's the place where, we look at the issues we have and we might look at like, hey, it's me. It's my thinking, it's my thoughts, my personality, my beingness, my emotions, and it's great. But once you look deeper, for those that can actually see beyond the normal human eyes, let's say see people, see energy, see auras, like see ghosts and all this stuff, you can literally connect these groups, let's say entities in your space, or maybe other groups that you have had contact with, and literally you can take care of them. So, sort of like just throwing it out at you, if you notice that you have this never-ending thinking, or maybe like, hey, it's just an example, you literally might have different kind of problems, and let's say you constantly have like your dreams being messed with. You have the worst dreams. You wake up really like tired. And in these, let's say, dreams or astral projections or out of body experiences that are being, let's say, hijacked, you have someone coming at you, telling you, like, hey, that's going to happen. That's not going to happen. This is how things are. And they will, let's say, lie to you or say things that will hurt. Like, this person doesn't love you. They don't like you. Oh, look, they're cheating on you. And different things can happen. And what happens, like, okay, you realize, like, there's part of me is being attacked. Label it, or see, like, at least call it something. Like your dreams or your personal space being hijacked. So like, okay, anyone who's hijacking my personal space, from your perspective, what seems to be the problem? Or anyone who's trying to change your opinion, like trying to make you feel bad or guilty or something else, you can talk to them and you can literally look at the issues they have. And it's easy for me to talk because a lot of people will have this hatred, like they want revenge, like, you've been attacking me, you beep beep beep, and like you might have a lot of cuss words for them, but you've been abused, you don't like that, and now you want to get them back. But the thing is, like, are you looking for trouble? Like, do you want to deal with these issues? And like, okay, I can kick you out, I can kill you, I can explode you, and it's your way of dealing things. Who am I to tell you what to do, really? So it's your way of how you want to deal with this. But just remember that eventually your actions will have consequences. And while you might remove, let's say, some entities or some groups by killing them, exploding them, there might be those that are watching, there might be those that like remember your actions and they will want to come back at you. So really, you can either finish issues with looking at the roots, okay, having conversation, maybe being a bit diplomatic, or whichever you want. Like, maybe like, hey, you're gonna give them a threat, and you make it clear they no longer can mess with you, they no longer can do things to you, and you stand up for yourself, which is like really great. And with that, you end a lot of issues and fighting. And anyway, I should shut it. But hopefully this is clear on, a lot of issues that we have are not really coming from here right now. They're coming from the past, where we've made some weird decisions or vows or agreements, and a lot of people are looking at us like we're the godlike beings. And we're like, sometimes we get in that victim mode, or we're like, why me? Why is this happening? Why this and that and that? And literally, you can look at a lot of that thinking, talking, a lot of feelings are coming from other beings. And they're coming through you because they see you as a safe, like someone who can help them out. Let's say a lot of entities might see you clearing out, like, let's say you're doing your own work and you're clearing out entities, like they're leaving your space, and they see you like, hey, if I go to this person, they're awake, they will be able to notice me and they will help me out. And a lot of them are looking for a way out because they're either suffering, they're being abused, they have a higher up boss, or they're really freaking nasty and they will try to attack you. But either way, like, most of them are looking for help. They, just like you, they want some freedom, they want to get better, they want to have their own life. And by being aware, you can literally, it's all up to your imagination. You can literally create the shield around yourself, this energy bubble, and program it that whoever comes in your space, they will automatically be able to leave to the place they want. So, and again, like, a lot of ways to deal with things, and hopefully, you'll find whatever fits you best. That being said, hopefully it's helpful, and I'm looking forward to your comments, what you have to share, your stories, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.